Hello and welcome to Two Girls, One Pod. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Crystal.
And today we have a very special guest. Lisa, can I call you special?
Yes, girl, might as well.
All right. So special guest, Lisa Baker. How you doing tonight?
Yay. I'm good. I'm great. How you guys doing?
I'm good. We were just chatting a little bit before we started recording, and I've had a bit of an evening full of temper tantrums. So, I mean, people have heard about that on our podcast before, so I won't go into it because she's 2. And apparently this is the age where she puts me to the test and I'm losing.
Yes. And then it continues through the rest of life.
I was just going to say, this is when it starts. This is not like just the point at which she's going to try. Like she's just gearing up. She's just getting going.
Yeah.
This is her training wheels.
Yeah.
She's
and
good.
So much energy.
Oh my God, the energy. If I could bottle that and have it for an hour, just an hour.
Yeah.
Like my husband looked at me the other day and he was like, how do I get her energy? And I was like, one of 3 ways. Go back in time, like subtract all of these years and just become a 2-year-old again. Do a shit ton of cocaine.
Or Adderall.
Or Adderall. That was my 3rd one. I said, or get on the Adderall. You got Adderall, one of 3 options.
That's how all the, when you see all those soccer moms that got their shit sewed together, those bitches are on Adderall.
I'm telling you.
It gotta be.
That's how they make all the cupcakes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You can't not do everything without something.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like I need to get on this shit or something because I'm like, I don't know. Today I just feel like a sweaty fucking disorganized mess. So I'm like literally sweating through my clothes right now. I can't even. I'm so hot.
You so are hot, Crystal.
No, not like that.
You're sexy. Okay, Lisa, tell us who you are. Tell us who you are.
I'm Lisa Baker. I'm a stand-up comedian, originally from Newfoundland, living in Alberta 8 years now.
You've been there for 8 years now?
8 years, yeah. I can't believe it either.
Okay.
When I go back and I see someone's like baby, but they're not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
Or like a kid that was like 5. I'm like, they're like, this is so-and-so. I'm like, no, it's not. So-and-so is like half that. So I forget that they grow up. Like,
oh yeah. Everybody's permanently like the way that they were before you left.
I'm like, what do you mean or grew up? And which is funny because I was my daughter was 11 when we left and she's 19 now. So like when we go back, people are shocked,
the same thing.
Yeah.
My God,
I mean, you probably expect it to kind of like be the same because let's be honest, truth be told, we probably as a province haven't aged much.
No, it's when I go back, like sometimes new street light, I'm like, oh look, that's new. They got a light here now instead of a stop sign.
One new street.
Man, I felt like that when I went to the mall.
What, all the new stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm like, we feel like the mainland now. We got a H&M, we got an Old Navy. I feel like we're fucking fancy.
I die for Old Navy. Old Navy's my favorite. But we got like out here, we got like outlet malls and stuff. So like I can go to like the fancier stores, but stuff is super cheap. Like we got Nike outlet, Guess outlet, like everything you can think of, there's an outlet store for it. But like, yeah, it's just weird. Like when I go home now too, because I got my license in Newfoundland, but I only had my license for I got my license at 35. Oh, so wow. Yeah, just because I was moving to Alberta, I didn't need it in Newfoundland because I lived in St. John's. I was getting a bus everywhere and I couldn't afford a car. Yeah. And then I moved to Alberta and I got my license right before I left because I had my permit, so I could go get my license. And I did. So I moved to Alberta like 19 days after I got my license. So all of my driving has been in Alberta or like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, BC, stuff like that, right? And then I go back to Newfoundland now and I drive and I'll hit like Rollins Cross. And I'm like, what the actual fuck is the point of an intersection like this? Or the one nearby Bingo Country. Do you know what I'm talking about? Down by St. Clair's?
Yeah.
Yes.
That weird, like Ricketts Road and all that. There's like, you get to the stop sign and there's like, oh, it's a 5-6 way intersection. That's it. What the fuck? Who planned this? Like, it's so bad. Like, when I go back, I'm like, no wonder tourists don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time that you were home, Lisa?
I was back in February of 2020, just before everything locked down. Right after we got in just after Snowmageddon and just before the apocalypse.
The pandemic.
Tight window.
Oh, buddy, I'm telling you, I can't believe me and Mike managed to get that one last, even up here, because we came back and we had one more show in Fort McMurray for Getting to Know Me. And we managed to do that. And that was like, it was like March 7th or 8th or something. And then Edmonton, Alberta, everything shut down on St. Patrick's Day.
Wow.
Right. Fuck. Doesn't that feel like fucking 10 years ago?
It does.
Yeah. And you know what really pisses me off through all this too is every time I look in the mirror and I see another gray hair or like another like line on my face, I'm like, I'm losing it, guys. Like any bit of hotness I have left is leaving the building and I'm not even allowed to go anywhere. It's getting wasted in this fucking house.
It's true though. Mine
Well,
is like flying away just because I've turned from like visiting friends to eating in my like pajamas.
Yeah.
So like instead of leaving the house and like doing myself up and going to see people and drinking lots of water and exercising, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching like fucking Peppa Pig, eating my kids' food and then getting some food for myself because that wasn't real food. So now I need more food and the cycle just continues.
I went out a couple of weeks ago and had my dress on backwards all day because I don't even know how to dress myself anymore.
I saw that on
I saw your video.
Oh,
Legit dying.
Yeah.
Walking around like I own the place with the dress on backwards.
Feeling sexy too, right? Like that's always when there's something embarrassing. When you feel good, you're like, oh, I'm looking good today. And then you're like, your fucking dress is tucked into your pantyhose or some shit.
Something like that. Yeah.
Toilet paper hanging off your foot.
I just want to put it out there. You did look really good, regardless of backwards or not.
Yeah, it was nice on backwards. It looked nice that way too, I must say.
Yeah, right.
I didn't notice the difference until you said it, and then I saw the tag.
Well, I was itching, right? And I went like this, and I was like, sure, no wonder there's a fucking tag on the front of the dress. And I'm in the middle of filming the TikTok, and I was like, I have my dress on backwards. And I was like, all right, I'll post it.
Yeah, right.
This is so funny.
So when did you get into TikTok? Was that before, pre-pandemic? Because I know a lot of people were like got into it during the pandemic.
So the TikTok thing's really funny because I joined TikTok. I think so. People would send me videos like I think it was around January. I was starting to get like a lot of videos from friends of mine, and I was like, this app seems really fun. So I joined up. I signed up, and my daughter was on my back to join. She was like, I think it'd be really good for your comedy and stuff. So I did, and I posted. I joined that. I signed up in like January, and then I posted my first video January 30th. And then I mostly just post a video like here and there, nothing major. And then, but I liked the app. I liked watching videos and following people, finding really cool creators and stuff. And then the end of March, I was getting ready to release my comedy album. It was my first comedy album that I finally recorded after years of people telling me, you need to record an album. And I did that in November. And I did it. It was the same weekend that Alberta was like, we're locking her down again. So I just got in under the wire with that album. And then it was like we weren't even prepared fully to release it. But then at the end of March, I did this silly little TikTok and my TikTok exploded.
Wow.
So we had merch designs ready to go with the album. So I was like, I contacted my producers. I was like, we need to release this album now. Mm-hmm. And they were like, all right, do it. So we set it all up. We got everything ready. And then we dropped the album and the merch. And it's been doing the merch, especially like we've been shipping that. We've shipped it to Northern Ireland, the States, England, and all over Canada. So it's been really, really fun with that. And then, so it's only been like, I've only been really like posting constantly, like every day on TikTok since the end of March. I still don't even know how to use half the shit that's on there. You know what I mean?
So we're trying to figure it out. So I just posted a reel. Crystal posted the first reel the other day we're still on Instagram. So we have a TikTok. But I've been uploading our Instagrams to TikTok because I don't know how to TikTok just yet. So Crystal did a reel of like cotton candy in a cotton candy machine at her cabin because they had like a movie night and they've got a cotton candy machine. And it got like a fucking 1,000 views or something. And we were like,
I was just like, all I did was fucking make cotton candy, dude. Like,
but TikTok is so much better than I found like other platforms because like even like Twitter is a good example. Like my buddy was saying he's a comic and he was like, I'll post something on Twitter and I'll get maybe 2 likes. Mm-hmm. He said, but then I posted to TikTok and I'll get like 1,000.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just, and the algorithms are so much better than any other social media platform I've used because you'll kind of be going through and the more things that you like and comment on, the more of that kind of content it'll show you.
Yeah.
So when people come on who are like total psychos on my posts, I'm like, you understand that by engaging with you're
just going to get more.
Yeah, TikTok's just going to show you more. Like, Don't engage.
You will learn to love me.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
don't like me, just swipe up every time you see my face. Don't fucking like and comment it. Like that's when
just
I'm
be
getting put in
like,
your
block me.
profile.
Yeah, just block me even, right? So
Yeah.
and I gotta say the vast majority of feedback is really positive. Like it's only been a few comments I've had to delete, and then I'll pick one comment because as a comic I love a heckler, like in the sense of if they give me something I can use where I can just destroy them in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And so when it's TikTok, it's easier because it's actually scripted. Like I can look at the comment, think about what I'm going to say, and then film a reply to it.
Mhm.
And I'll do that every now and then when someone really deserves it, like when because there's people who say shitty things about Newfoundland, or my accent is the biggest point of contention.
Yeah, that was a big one there, Lisa.
Yeah, for a little
week.
bit, yeah. People, they're like, "Oh, your accent's so fake," and I'm like, people know me in real life. Like, I don't just exist inside my house. Like, people know me. They know
I'm
that
not just on TikTok.
Yeah, like I'm like, this is all right, I guess. Like the one guy who's like, I know newfies, and I'm pretty sure. I'm like, okay. And so yeah, it's the most bizarre. I never thought I'd have to like defend my accent.
Right? That
But
is
it's so
wild.
weird.
Yeah, like we're gatekeeping the weirdest shit now. Like accents, come on.
The things that people get offended about too. The funny thing, my favorite thing about the internet and this day and age that we're going through, especially like with the cancel culture and stuff, is that the people who get offended are the people who say stop getting offended all the time. Like
yes!
the people,
oh my God, thank you.
Right?
Yes. That's the thing, because it's always the right who's like cancel culture, and I'm like, oh, are we forgetting about the chicks or Sinead O'Connor or Colin? I can't say his last name, I'll screw it up. But the NFL player that lost his career.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk to us about cancel culture because you guys fucking created it, and we're not canceling people. We're going, I choose not to listen to that person or purchase their products or what, and which is our right. But like, they'll go out, like, look, they went out and bought it because Nike was sponsoring the NFL player. They went out, they bought all these Nike sneakers to destroy them. And Nike's like, well, we don't fucking care. You paid for them. You still got your money.
And you advertised it. So more people, because it's still fucking advertising for Nike. So you're going and paying for it. And then you're also plastering our symbol and our brand to the world.
And they don't have to pay for it.
It's no different than too if you guys were to say, hey, like like you were drinking a drink or something, and you said, like, oh, I boycott, KFC because they do this, but I support McDonald's because they do this. And if my beliefs align with the person that you're boycotting, I'm gonna go support them now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even though you were saying I won't support that, like, I won't support that organization because they support women's health and they support like Planned Parenthood, then I'm like, oh, I guess I know where my money's going then,
100%. Yeah.
So it can actually, have the opposite effect that they think it's having, right?
Oh, it's so funny. And then they'll get on and they'll be like, oh, fucking snowflakes getting upset over, like, what was one? A Dr. Seuss book. And I'm like, first of all, it's not, they didn't cancel all. I won't get right into it because it goes deep.
But it was a publisher's decision, and it was based on capitalism,
right?
Like 2 books that weren't even popular. They're not even popular books. It wasn't Green Eggs and Ham and the fucking Cat in the Hat. You know what I mean? Like, and then they're like, but WAP is the biggest song on the radio, and I'm like, oh my God. So we're just comparing apples to oranges now because Dr. Seuss is a book written for children.
The children's classic song WAP, of course.
Right? I'm like, if your kid knows the lyrics to WAP, that's a you problem. That's not a parenting problem.
Yeah.
If it's number 1 on the radio, that's because it's geared towards adults. Adults listen to it. Adults are the ones who are singing. If your kid knows all the words, listen, my kid loves Cardi B and she swears like a sailor. I know where she gets it. She's not picking it up on Treehouse. She's hearing it from me. She's hearing it in the car. You know what I mean? Like,
from Auntie Crystal.
And from Auntie Crystal. Right?
It's
we drive to daycare.
People get upset about.
So stupid. Like, so stupid.
As a comedian, if I told you some of the shit that people got mad at me for, the vast majority of hate I've received as a comic, and I hate even saying this because it hurts me, has been from Newfoundlanders.
Oh, I believe it.
Yep. And it's because they see me as, I feel like now the vast majority of Newfoundlanders that I've interacted with are very supportive and positive, but the ones that don't like my stuff are people that are almost, I feel like they're ashamed of, because
Being a newbie?
honestly, like just the accent or the culture or whatever, and they're trying to move away from it. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine for you, but that's not how I feel about our culture and our accent. Like, I love it. And I love kind of, playing with those little stereotypes and stuff, but I don't think it's fair for someone else to tell me that I can't, because I'm just existing, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not faking anything. I'm not Snook. I'm not Pete Soucy throwing on a costume. Like, this is
Right.
who I am as a person. So it's not only just shitty to tell me that I shouldn't do this, but it's also like, it's just hurtful and mean to look at someone and say, the way you are as you exist is offensive to me. Like, that's horrible. And I know lots of people experience it in different ways. I'm certainly not something that would, it doesn't ruin my life or hurt my life, but it's still shitty. You know what I mean?
100%.
Well, and if you weren't the person that you are, and say you weren't so confident in the person that you are, it could have pretty bad effects on you. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it could certainly tear away at your self-esteem if you
Absolutely.
weren't as self-assured as what you are. That's what I think.
I think
You know what I
too.
mean?
Well, I think too, some of it might be the fact, I think there's a part of them that's a little, I try to word it like, because jealous doesn't seem right, but it's kind of fitting, but like, they're upset at the fact that they felt the need to change who they were and conform to something, and I don't. And that bugs them, that I'm living as I am, that I'm okay with it. Like, it's like anything else, right? Like, people will look at someone who's overweight and get upset that they're confident because they don't think they should be. And it's like, you don't get to determine
that comes
how
from
comfortable I am with who I am.
Exactly. That comes from their own insecurities and the value that they do or don't have in their own self. Like, for someone to get mad at somebody else, like you say, for existing, it's like, how much do you hate yourself to take that and throw it at me on top of it?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a little bit of projection there, I think, for sure, right? They're just upset that I decided, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And
I think too, it also got way too easy to sit behind a computer screen and criticize everything on the other side and forget that they're people.
It's a person.
Like, this is a person. You might have fucking like 1 million to 10 million followers or groups or whatever. Like, I don't care who you are. You're still a person at the end of the day. But like, it comes natural almost for us to like look at celebrities and talk about this one's ugly, that one's gorgeous, this one's whatever. And then like, we criticize them, and then the media does it. And everything that we see is the media criticizing these celebrities. And look at like, how many times has Jennifer Aniston been pregnant because she had like a fucking little pooch or something? She had a burger one day and she ate
like too much.
She's been carrying a child for like fucking 20 years.
Look at what they consider. Like, there's a girl on TikTok who does this real good lady, like real funny and stuff, but she does all these videos about what in the 90s and different decades, what was considered to be plus size. Like, Drew Barrymore in the 90s, the media portrayed her as a plus. She's never been plus size. She has a full face. It's just her structure. And there was others too that they were like, they tried to sell us this person as, a plus size person. Kate Winslet, when she did the Titanic, I mean, they considered her to be a big girl. I'm like, and what reality are you living in? And it's like, oh, I get it, because she's not passing out from hunger. That's but it's just, I think we're moving away from that, which is lovely.
I think so too.
I mean, we still got a way to go, and there's still a lot of shitbag people out there that, I mean, one of the women out here that Kathleen McGee, she's a comic, and she said, she said, I want to be famous, but then I look at Amy Schumer's Twitter feed, or her Twitter account, comments, and see all of the hate. Yeah. And I was like, so like, and it's harder and it's worse for us than it is for the dudes, right?
100%. Like, hands down.
We have to work twice as hard to be taken half as seriously. I remember I had a booker one time say, I'm not really comfortable with a female headliner. And I laughed because I thought he was joking, but he was like dead serious. I was like, you just said those words out loud, sir. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand to a certain extent, if somebody's been around for a long time, like say that person had been around for a long time, it's kind of, I guess they're trying to get used to the changing times and whatnot, but it's kind of like, maybe you should just shut your fucking mouth and think about what you're going to say for a minute.
Right? Well, Bill Burr got a joke about that, like about old people that are, bigots, right?
Yeah.
And he says, when people are like, I can't believe they said that. And he's like, he's 80. What did you think he thought?
Yeah.
And it's, and he's like, he just lived too long. Because if he had said those words 30 years ago, he would have been considered progressive.
Yeah.
But saying those words nowadays, he's considered to be a bigot. And it's like, yeah, it's so true that, the times change. But that's the thing, like, people aren't evolving as fast as they should, though. They're just, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we need you to catch up.
People hate change.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
People
yes,
hate change, like in themselves, in the world, whatever. And I think that's the reason why I'm offended by everything. People get so offended because most of the things that they're pissed off about is something that's changing. And instead of looking to think, is this a good change? Is this something that's necessary? Should this have been done 20 years ago? They're like, I don't like it because it's different. Yeah. I like everything the way I knew it was. And that's what I'm used to.
Even if they just approach it on a simpler level of like, does this affect my life?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Personally.
Yeah, like when people talk about like, I mean, we've got a generation of people now who are like, I don't believe in pronouns. And we're like, okay, but pronouns have always existed, right? Like those have always been your thing. Like, or they'll say they, them can't be a pronoun. I'm like, but it's always been a pronoun. It's always. A pronoun when we don't know which gender to assign. So if I said somebody parked their car outside, I use their, like, or if I said, oh yeah, they just left it in my driveway. Because I don't know who it is. So I say they. That's a pronoun. Yeah, and so people don't realize this. And it just blows my mind. So, but it's like, okay, but if somebody wants to be she, her, or he, him, or they, their, they, them, like how, like, is your coffee not as good in the morning now? Like, is there more, is your car running a little shitty because of it? Like, how is it affecting did you take a pay cut? I don't understand how it's affecting your life.
I have said this to a family member before who is not where they should be, I guess, progressively, right? Who had said to me, and I don't want to out them because I know their heart is in the right place.
We've all got them.
And
we do.
We do.
They've gotten there, but they're not quite there. But I had said to this person, because I think it's a male, and he was saying something about, I don't know, gay people, like, that's fine, but like, it's just not for me or whatever, not in front of me, or I don't want to hear about it or something like that. And I'm like, and I said to him, unless another man comes up and puts his mouth on your mouth or asks you to be a third in their relationship or something like that, unless he's asking you, inviting you into the bedroom, why does it matter? I said, unless you're physically in there while they're having sex, or he is aggressively hitting on you and trying to like rape you, is there any reason for you to be upset? Because otherwise it doesn't affect you. Like, how does somebody else's relationship hurt you? Unless you're in love with that person. Like, if I'm in love with somebody who's in a relationship with somebody else, that hurts. But that's literally it. Like,
it doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand the whole thing. Like, because to me, like, I just try to be respectful of people. And I'm the biggest arsehole you'll ever meet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I am. Like, but like, I try to reserve it for the people who deserve it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try not to be, and it's taken me a long time to get to this place in life. Because for a time I was just an arsehole to anybody. And now I'm realizing, like, over the last few years, like, that's not healthy or productive or any of that stuff. So I'm trying to be a kinder person, but at the same time, I'm not going to take shit, and I'm not going to stand by while other people take shit either.
100%.
But I just don't understand the whole, like, I understand that sometimes people can't grasp the concept, but you don't need to understand something to respect it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand brain surgery, but I respect the fact that there are people that do, and they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand why people are like that. Like, just, all right, if that's not your thing, that's not your thing.
Yeah, nobody's asking you to be involved. Just like, be like, okay, it's fine for somebody else to do that.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. Cool.
I don't want to suck a dick, but if you want to suck a dick, I'm okay with you sucking a dick.
Exactly. Like, and like, my thing is, it's consenting adults. I don't care what you do. That's your business. Yeah. And for me too, like, if I do meet people that like purposefully misgender people, I will purposefully misgender that person
Them.
name.
Yeah.
So like if a dude is standing there calling a woman he because he's being a dickhead about it. So, you know, he, and I'm like, no, she's a she. She prefers she, call her she. Eventually I'll start calling him ma'am and I'll be like, listen, lady. And, you know, and then and I'm like, well, see, now you understand
How it feels.
Yeah, it's not nice, right? So don't do that. You're just being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole.
And why? Like, does it make them feel better that like, oh well, I know that they were born with this specific like,
well, and like
does that make you
hills,
feel better?
well, and there's bigger hills to die on. There's real shit fucking happening in the world. You know what I mean? There's real problems where you can go and help and you know be a change instead of just picking on people that are not even in your fucking life or your circle. Like, why would you do that? That's just crazy. But you like as a comic, like you see, because it's becoming so diverse in the industry, and it's wonderful to see that because you get all these different perspectives, and everybody has something. Everybody is relatable. Like they have a way, you know, to be able to talk to you that's relatable. Like it just you might not understand what they're going through, but there's certain ways we can kind of relate to each other, you know. And I just feel like that it's important to have all those voices out there. But you'll always get the people that complain. Like I've had people tell me not to make jokes about my kids because, like one lady, she was like, "Well, I can't have kids." And I'm like, I don't know what that has to do with this situation. Yeah. Like with my jokes, like how was you not being able to have a child have anything to do with me making jokes about my children? You know?
Yeah.
But people get upset over everything. I had a woman get mad because I do a joke about my IUD.
Yeah. Really?
Oh yeah, she was like, I know people who've gotten pregnant with it and had to have an abortion. It was very traumatic. I'm like, are you the people you know, ma'am? Because this seems very personal to you. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But I want to understand what that has to do with my IUD joke, right? And if I stop telling a joke because it upsets that person, and then the next person says, well, I was okay with that joke, but I'm not okay with this one. Eventually, I'm just not
You're not gonna have jokes.
I can't tell any jokes.
It gets to the point where when is censorship too much? Like if you're telling a joke that is clearly a joke and it's based on facts or whatever, you know, it's like, this is a joke. There's a difference between telling a joke and being a shitty person. Yes. And you know, and teaching exactly. It's intent and it's context.
Always context.
And most of the time, what gets missed is the context of certain situations. So when people talk about the cancel culture, most of the times the things that are getting canceled, they're like the people who are pissed off about it is because it's out of context. You know what I mean? Like when they're realizing like it's, you know, this is what we're canceling, not everything, but this particular situation is just going to be changed.
I worked with a girl who didn't understand sarcasm. She just didn't get it. And so if you said something sarcastically, she would correct you.
Right.
And I was like, well, I was being sarcastic. And that's the thing. Like I could do a video or I could tell a joke where I'm being completely sarcastic. But if somebody heard that out of context and thought that I was actually being serious in that moment, right? So, I mean, look at all the people that believe Onion articles are real or the Beaverton or whatever, you know, and they think those are all real, but it's like, no, those are satire. And it's just mind blowing to me that people haven't picked this up. But that's the thing too. There's intent. And also too, like if it's someone's own story, then I don't think anyone can tell them that they can't tell that. And they can't tell it in a way that they want to tell it. So if they want to make it humorous, they can make it humorous. And when you come to a comedy show, there's a certain expectation of trigger warnings. You go in there knowing, right? Now, my personal opinion on triggers is that in certain contexts, there should be trigger warnings, right? In certain situations, there should be trigger warnings. But I don't think they're necessary in everyday life because it's nobody's responsibility to know my triggers. It's my responsibility to know how to deal with my own triggers. And that's how it is. Because, you know, like people have said, you can't do stuff about this. And I said, well, I liken it to like soldiers, right? So soldiers who have PTSD and they might come back and decide they don't want to watch war movies ever again. However, they don't ask that they never be made. They just decide, I'm not going to watch that because that's not good for me right now. So I just feel like if people kind of had that more of that approach and understand that nobody is setting out to upset you or hurt you or target you. It just happens that we might be talking about something that is upsetting to you.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
and we all have a personal responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, it is how it is, right? And then like, I don't know, like being out here, it's been interesting because, especially Edmonton is so diverse, right? And I work
Yeah.
with so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And so I've actively learned how, because like the last thing I wanted to be was like accidentally racist or something. Do you know what I mean? Because growing up in Newfoundland, there's a lot of stuff that we're not exposed to, especially like I'm in my mid 40s, right? It's much different now, but like when I was growing up, it was really white.
Oh
And
gosh,
so,
yes.
right,
It's
really white.
still,
It probably
it's still
is. Yeah,
blindingly
it still is.
white.
Yeah, and so it was really white, like, and then now I'm around so many different people and cultures, so I try to, be sensitive and even say up front, like, I don't know if how to ask you this, but whatever. And I've learned so much. Like, I have friends who are Muslim, and I've learned, so many things about their culture and their religion. And then, like an invite, I had a couple of girls at work. We invited them over so they could see how we celebrate Christmas.
Mhm.
And it was a lot of fun. But like, yeah, I think it's just the fact of not being an arsehole and just being open-minded to, because nobody's right. Like, people like, because that's the funny thing about the whole people who are like cancel culture. I'm like, you get upset because they put happy holidays on a fucking coffee cup.
I know. It's
You know
so
what I mean?
stupid.
Like, you got mad over that. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Right? People are starving to death in the world. But all right, I guess that's
Cool.
what you want to do with your
Yeah.
time.
Or if you say happy holidays to someone, they're like, it's Merry Christmas. You're like, okay, Merry Christmas. Bye.
Yeah.
I don't
But the
care.
funny thing,
Yeah, if somebody said Happy Hanukkah to me, I'd be like, same to you. Like,
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
like, it doesn't really bother me.
We're
because
not
I'm
all
not
walking around
offended
with
by
it
the
written.
fact that you're Jewish. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, cool. That's awesome. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just like, and if somebody was like, came up to me during the same time frame and they're like, Happy Kwanzaa, I'd be like, same to you. You know, I don't
Exactly.
celebrate it, but that's awesome for you.
And I think it's a lovely thing when somebody wishes you that. Do you know what I mean? When
Absolutely.
somebody like wishes you something, I just think that's a lovely gesture, and that you just return it. I think that's just
Exactly.
polite.
Well, I think
know?
like to me, if somebody's taking the time to say something like that to you, they're bestowing blessings upon you. To me,
Yes.
that's how I
Yes.
look at it.
I
You
feel
know?
Yeah,
like
I agree.
the you too should come natural, because the amount of times I've wished like the girl at the gym a good workout when she said it to me, and I'd be like, yeah, you too. Like, I'll be going to
Right.
the gym, she's like, have a good workout. I'm like, yeah, you too. And I'm like,
When you're at the
No.
airport, have a nice flight.
No.
You too. Right?
Yeah.
It's just,
Exactly.
And
How
then
is
I
it
can
not
go
natural?
home and not sleep later because I'll think about that for the next 20 fucking years.
I gave that shit up. I used to
Yeah.
be like that. Now I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, because you know what I've learned is like humans are very self-centered.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there and you're like, everyone's thinking about the time. And I'm like, no, because they're thinking about the time that they did a thing, and they think everybody's
Exactly.
thinking about that. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Nobody gives a shit.
It's
Yeah.
true.
And how much
We're
time is
too caught up.
wasted? How
Yeah,
much time is
it
wasted
is.
on that, And like,
It
so
is.
one thing that I've learned, and I'm only going to say since the fucking pandemic, like this 10-year apocalypse that we've been in, because like when this first started, so I was saying to Crystal, like, we started this podcast and I told her, like, this year has been such a fucking transformation for me. I don't know, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like from the inside out. Because I think for years, and like even going in through, say, like your 20s and then getting into your 30s and whatever, you're always going around like, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life now. And this is how I need to act. And this is what I should
Yep.
say. And it's like, and I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or if this was a shift that was just going to happen in me whatsoever. But like,
Yep.
I'm to the point now where I'm not asking for forgiveness from anybody for anything that I say or feel or think. Maybe if it's something I say that is
Yes, no, I know what you
wrong,
mean. Yeah. Yeah.
if I am wrong, absolutely. But like, if I'm not going to apologize for a thought that I have or a feeling that I have, I'm not going, like, we're doing this podcast. And I remember when I first got started, so I sell real estate. And I remember I was telling my parents, yeah, me and Crystal are doing a podcast, and it's, not real estate related. And we originally called it the Why the Fuck Not podcast. And I remember my parents were like, well, now you want to watch out though, because you don't want to lose any clients and all this and that. And it's true. Like my whole Facebook life was thinking about like, oh, well, I should be careful not to say this or not to do that, because I'm technically quote unquote public figure. Like I'm someone that somebody can call me up on a sign. I could lose business. And then it got to the point where I was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to do my podcast because here's the thing. At the end of the day, everybody's not going to clash with everybody else, or everybody's not going to mesh with everybody else.
No,
So if I do
right.
a podcast and someone listens to me and they don't like the amount of times that I use the word fuck, you're not going to want to work with me anyway, because that's who
right.
I am. So like it got to that point, or if you don't like my opinion, chances are I'm just going to save myself a whole lot of headaches of dealing with people who I don't mix with, or someone who maybe doesn't like my beliefs and my values, or goes against them, and I think mine are right, then that's fine. We don't need to work together. There's like 700 fucking realtors. You can find a different one. You know
But
what
you're
I
more
mean?
than your job too. And that's the thing people
Exactly.
forget. Like, that's not who you are. That's not your entire person. You know, like
Mhm.
none of us, I mean, some people do, they make motherhood their entire personality, or their
Mhm.
job, or their husband's or wife's job, spouse's jobs, their entire personality. But I've learned, because like it bugs me, because like sometimes when if I'm having a serious conversation, like on Facebook or something like that, somebody will say, you know, want to look, just you want to just stick to being a comedian, or yeah, I'm going to listen to a comedian, or this is coming from a comedian. And it's like, you understand that my life experience is not just entirely comedy, that
Mhm.
there's more parts of my life than just comedy. Like that's one small part of who I am as a person. That's one small part that's influenced my thinking. So there's other, like, I'm like, I don't go to fucking funerals and be like throwing out one-liners and like, and don't forget, we'll be here at 9 o'clock at Carl's and try Aunt Gertie's sandwiches down in the lunchroom. Like, I'm not, this is not fucking everything I am,
Mhm.
you know? And so you have to realize that there's going to be crossover and there's going to be shit that goes on. But like, you're right. At the end of the day, if somebody has an issue with, like if somebody has an issue with something I said as a comedian, in my personal life, then I'm like, yeah, well, we're not, probably shouldn't be friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
like we don't jive. It's just not there.
Yeah. And that's fine too. And it's also coming to the realization that like you're not going to mix with everybody. It's okay to let old relationships die. It's okay to let people go. You don't have to have a falling out. You don't have to be mad at someone to not be
Nope.
friends with them anymore. You know, you can still say hi to them at the grocery store or whatever. But like that's the natural progression of life. And that's why change is so beautiful. Things are not always going to stay the same. And it's completely fine that they don't stay the same. Like
That's right.
that's how you grow. You know?
Yeah, and I think that we are moving towards a shift of that, of realizing that we don't have to. A lot of the stuff that, like, it's funny because we were talking just like as like an analogy of how things shift and change. My partner Brett, his son's getting married in August, and I'm going to the bridal shower next month. Thank God, because we did like, you know, your heavy lockdown in Newfoundland. We did like 7 straight months of that.
I can't.
And
I
so you couldn't have
can't.
anyone in your house, no indoor gathering, no outdoor gathering, no open, you couldn't dine in at a restaurant, you couldn't go to a movie, nothing. And so we did that from like November to like, I don't know what it was like, May or something. So his son and they can have their wedding now. And so she did like the bridal registry, you know, to go in. And now they've been living together for a while. And she's got some stuff there that, you know, you can buy her for her bridal shower. And I said to Brett, I just want to give them cash. They're kids. They're starting out. They're just finished university. They're starting their careers. I just want to give them some money. So I said, I'm going to message her. So Brett ended up messaging her and said, hey, is it cool if Lisa just gives you cash? She just wants to give you cash. She's like, yeah, that's fine. And then Brett and I got into this conversation about how because years ago, you didn't live with your wife or your husband until you were married. So you would need to have a bridal registry. You would need to ask for like you know, pots and pans and dishes and, you know, the countertop mixer and shit, right?
Yeah.
Who the fuck out of us now is even like, you have that shit. I mean, you're moving in together. Brett's 2 marriages deep. I'm 1 in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we've got stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same with the kids. They've been living together. They got all this stuff. But like, that's the thing. So we move away because a lot of people say like cash is tacky. And it's like, well, what are you supposed to do at this day and age? What can you do? Because the whole bridal registry thing is so fucking outdated.
Yeah,
It's ancient. But we cling to these like
traditions.
Yeah, like crazy people. You know what I mean? And so I think like that's where we're starting to see the shift is we got this younger generation who definitely is being raised to think more for themselves and be their own people. So they're like, I'm not fucking doing that. Stupid. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
And so I think like that's a good example of something just completely mundane, completely benign, where we've decided like, yeah, that's really outdated thinking. But I think the kids are starting to apply it to more shit, which is great.
Man,
So,
it's
we
so
do it.
necessary. So when we got married in 2016. We went away. So we went down south. So that was,
The best wedding.
strike one. Because we were like, fuck it. I want a honeymoon and I want a party all in one. Who can make it, make it. If you can't come, we'll see you later. Like, don't get offended if you can't come to my wedding. Like, it's a fortune, but it's a vacation. So yes or no, it doesn't matter to us. We're not offended. So we went down, and before we didn't do a save the date, because I think those are so fucking stupid. Save the date and then wait for my invitation for the date and the details. Like, it's money that doesn't need to be spent. I'm not keeping it. You give me a save date and you think I'm going to hold on to it forever for sentimental value. Like, it's going in. Also, okay, sidestep. We sidestep a lot. People need to stop giving me pictures of their children for Christmas. I don't care. I don't care what little Bobby looks like in his fucking. You don't do it, Crystal. You're not bad.
I don't do it because I'm a fucking hot mess mom.
But listen, like, that's one thing I said about
pictures.
Oh man, like I said about Scarlett, I was like, okay, one thing that I'm not going to do is take her picture with Santa and give it to all my friends and my family. It's like, mom can have one, Drew's mom can have one, and we'll have one. And if anybody else wants one, I'll make you a copy. But ask me, because I'm not just fucking handing them out, because the pictures that you give me of your kid are 150% going in the garbage. I can see it on Facebook. I can like it there. Anyway, so sidestep away from that. That's a tradition we can let die. But when I was getting married, I didn't do the save the dates or anything like that. And when I did my bridal shower, I mixed it because I was like, I don't want two different venues, two events. So I didn't do a registry. People were like, what do you want? I was like, whatever you want to give me. I don't care. And it was mostly cash or like dirty stuff, which was even better. And we had a mixed stagette shower all in one. So we ordered
all in the one night.
When did we rent the hall? We rented it for like, say, 2 or 3 o'clock. Like, it started early.
Yeah, we started early,
and you could
we
drink
went all night,
and kids were allowed, and then kids had to leave at like fucking 6 or 7 or something, and then we all just like got on
for us to do the raunchy stuff.
So like, and people were like, oh, what do you mean you're having 2 and 1? You're not going to have it separate. You're not going to have this. I was like, listen, you can bring your kids until this hour. Then the dicks are going on the walls and keep them there. They can stay. They're my kids, fucking whatever. But like, it's going to turn into this, right?
No, but that's your warning, right? Like, if you want to dispose of that, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
it went over well, I think. But
I honestly too, I've reached a point where I'm like, children should not be anywhere. Children, we go out to dinner and they're like, restaurant or lounge, and I'm like, the room where no children are allowed. Take me to that.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, I was a single mom, so like I was with my kids all the fucking time.
Right.
And so now I've reached a point in life where I'm like, you know what? I've spent enough time with children, and my kids are cool, like hanging out with my kids and doing things with my kids now. They're grown. They're 19 and just about 24. But like, I mean, your children might be lovely or whatever, but I have no interest in your children, so I don't want to die. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you don't want a Christmas card from me this year?
What's that?
With a picture of Scarlett?
With a picture of Scarlett on Santa's lap?
It's just screaming, right? Just screaming her fool head off, right?
Oh, fucking stupid.
God. Well, yeah, like I don't have any interest in it. I love kids. I do. I love them. And I don't mind, but like, I want them in environments where I expect them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if I go into a daycare, there's going to be fucking kids there. But if I go into an Earl's, fuck off. Get a babysitter. You know what I mean? I'm drinking doubles, bitch. Why is your kid screaming? Like,
oh, yeah. Well, I get a kick out of like other venues that I'll go to with children, and they're like, oh, you can bring Scarlett. And I'm like, I'm going to get out without her, actually. Yeah. Thanks. But no, I'm not doing that. Like, she's staying the fuck home.
Yeah. Like, and the other thing too, because I'm seeing a lot of the mom shaming, hey? And I'm like, man, listen, as a woman who survived parenthood, because that's the only way I can describe it. And it wasn't because I had kids that were difficult or anything like that. It was just because I did it on my own, and it was exhausting and it was a struggle. And we were poor for a really long time. Like, I still can't eat Mr. Noodles. I eat Mr. Noodles. I'm like, it tastes like I'm on welfare again. Like, I can't do it. And so I just can't. And like, I just feel like I survived it. And so I look at moms and I'm like, man, do what you have to. If everyone's safe and happy, fucking do what you have to do. I'm not going to judge anyone.
Listen, man, I love my kids so much. Of course I do. They're a part of me. But I don't fucking like them all the time.
No. And
I'm
that's
sorry.
normal.
Like,
that's completely normal.
There are days where I'm like, one of my kids gets on my nerve and I'm just like, I look at my husband and I'm like, that kid is a fucking dick today.
Right?
Like,
Yeah, like
he
locking yourself in the pantry and just being like, just fuck off, just fuck all the fucking way off.
Yeah.
You know, just under your breath so they can't hear it so you don't traumatize them.
Right.
But, fuck. Or like when they leave the room and you're just like, you know, just fuck.
All the time.
Like,
all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's healthy.
I think so too.
Listen, man, and if I can't talk about it and put it out there so other people know that it's completely normal for you to feel this way sometimes, then I don't know what to do for you, because if you're not that type of person, we can't hang out.
And I think it's important for people to know that, like, the women who will say, like, who'll push back on that and be like, not my children are. It's like, yeah. Somebody want to watch her in her minivan, and if there's a lake nearby, because I don't trust that bitch. Do you know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah. So overcompensating. But like, for the vast majority of people, when you put that, especially new moms, when you put it out there that like we've romanticized motherhood to the point that it's supposed to be perfect and rainbows and beautiful. Some days, like there could come a point when your baby shits in your face. Okay, that can happen.
Yep.
So I think when we normalize it and we talk about it, how many women can sit there and go, oh God, I feel just so validated. I like, what a relief. Like I was stressing about feeling this way, or I had anxiety over this. And they find out like, no, you're completely normal. That's completely normal. It's just, I feel like it makes you a better, and no matter what that is in life, like no matter what we apply that to, I think it makes people better at whatever it is they're doing. It's their job or motherhood or being a wife or a partner or whatever. If it's normalized that there's going to be struggle or it's going to be tough or whatever, I think it just makes them better at it because they can let that go. They can let that guilt go.
It makes the hard days easier for sure. Like I remember when I first had Scarlett, I was in a mom group. They're fun. And and it was a local one. I'm still in my Canada wide group. There was I was in two. So one was a local one, another one was like all through Canada. And the local one is the one I had to drop because it was so fake. And there was a couple of people in there that I knew, not friends with, but knew them. And anyway, this one girl had a child the same time that I did. And there was one post that she'd posted up about like, I don't know, her kid's got some strange name, call her Ruru. So it was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Ruru used the potty today for the first time. I'm like, your kid is 9 months old and licks windows just like the fucking rest of our kids. Like, stop it. Because everything that she was posting was about how smart she was and she did this first. And I'm like, that's great. And then she's down for now. Like, I think it was like 3 months old or something. She was like, we're on a really good schedule. So like we wake up from this time to this time. She goes down for this time to this time. And I was just like, are you fucking joking me? And then every time I would read all of this, I would start to feel like, oh my God, I don't have a nap schedule yet. I can't do anything like this yet. She's not sleeping well. She's not using the potty. She's not talking. She's not crawling. And you're just comparing, and every kid is different. And some of the stuff they're all doing is probably true, but the one that was really bugging me the most, I also know that she fluffs a lot with her image. So I was like, this is probably not even true. And I'm here tearing myself apart over it. So I just had to, I deleted her and then I deleted the group because I was like,
well, that's what I was going to say.
Like, healthy.
And half the time that's just it. Like, so they're like, I always make this joke because like my relationship that I'm in right now is so incredibly healthy. Like there's times that I'm like, this is like, I'll say to him, like, I can't believe you're mine. Like he's such a good person. And he's so patient, he's so kind. And like, even like the other night, he was upset over something in the house. I think he tripped over something and spilled coffee and whatever. So he was just kind of grumpy about it, but just grumpy at the situation he was in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I come downstairs because he's not an angry person. He never gets angry. So I go downstairs, I'm like laughing because he's so funny when he's mad. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I just fucking tripped over. Oh, it was the cat. I tripped over the cat and I spilled my coffee. And it was just like this, just like, you know, a series of unfortunate events, right? And so I was laughing. And so he was all like, oh, grr, right? So I go upstairs, I'm laughing. He comes up later and he goes, I just wanted you to know, I wasn't getting short with you. I was just, you know, and I go, no, you were mad at this. But I really appreciated that he made it a point to say that to me. Like, he has no idea what that meant to me. But I tell people, I'm like, I'm as happy as people pretend to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you have to remember that people are always trying to put the best, like a lot of people are very caught up in, appearances. So it's always putting out what the best, or they're lying, or they're a fucking Adderall mom,
Exactly.
And so, yeah, like you got something else going on there, lady. Cause I mean, there are people that are just really good at it. There are, but not as many as we,
as it looks.
As we see. And I don't care how good you are at it. There are days that you fucking don't want to.
Yeah.
There are days everybody don't want to.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's the life.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like the ones that are putting it out there that their whole lives are perfect and that they're, like fucking Snow White with the fucking birds and whatever is going on, but in the background, shit happening. Those people are the exception. We're not the exception.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
There are more people that are like us that are just like, some days it's like, fuck my life. And other days I'm like, I'm so happy you're here. But
and I mean, that was one of the reasons too, that we like started the podcast. Like, cause when we were talking about topics and things that we could get into, it was endless. And everything that we were discussing as possible topics was this kind of stuff. It was like, you know what, let's shed light on this area. Let's talk about how shitty this is. Let's talk about this garbage event, because it was like, let's make it real for people. Like anybody who listens to this podcast, I don't want them to listen and think that we're perfect, because we are far from it. And nobody, you know what? We're so unperfect that we're perfect. Like, I honestly think that's the way that the world is.
Perfectly
like,
imperfect.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, this whole, what perfect is an image that we've been fed. There's no such thing.
It's subjective too, because what I consider to be perfect is different from what you consider to be perfect, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's subjective. It's up to the person too, the individual. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I feel like as women, like even like just the way when I see women talk about childbirth and like talking about like, women who have C-sections taking the easy way out. I'm like, are you fucking insane? Are you crazy? They have major abdominal surgery that they have to recover from. I just think, anybody, we should all just respect each other's experience.
100%.
You know what I mean? And not belittle people, but like sometimes the way people talk to each other, like especially like you said with motherhood, it's just absolutely horrible the way they treat other women. Like just, your baby's not doing this yet, or you're, whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, they're all different. I had 2 kids, very different experiences with each one. The first one was speaking by the time he was a year and a half. He could ask you for things, literally a year and a half. It was mind blowing. The second one didn't talk till she was 3. It was frustrating as fuck. But by the time they started kindergarten, they were both the same,
Yeah, I remember getting into it when Scarlett wasn't walking. Now she walked at like a year, which is like fairly average, I guess. Yeah. But like, I remember there were a lot of people like walking early and stuff. And because there was like a baby boom. I don't know if it just happens when you get pregnant, you just notice all the other pregnant people, but there was like a usually baby boom when I had her. And I remember thinking like, what's really funny? Totally lost my train of thought.
You were talking about her walking late. Or not late, but I guess people made you feel like it was late.
Yeah, I did. I started. What were we talking about before that? We were talking about not
comparing them. Children, everybody's different.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm not editing that out. So anyway, I was she started walking when she was like a year, but before she started walking, people would be like, "Oh, is she walking yet? Oh, she's not walking yet. Oh, how come?" And I remember thinking like, even when she was walking and other people's kids weren't walking, I had said to them, I was like, you do understand that like nobody's going to remember this when they're adults. Like if my mom could tell you when I started fucking walking, I'd be shocked. And like, you don't go to school, like who goes to university and you're like, oh yeah, I see Tim over there. He never started walking until he was 2.
Do you know what I mean? Application, right?
Yeah.
When you started walking.
Right. Like the shit that moms obsess over has nothing to do with life.
No. And the other thing is too, it's so ableist, like the whole, because people will walk up to a stranger and be like, hey, your kid's not walking. And I had a friend whose daughter could not walk. She had a disability. She could not walk. And I remember like she was in it was like a wheelchair, but it looked like a stroller,
Right.
and people saying like, she's not walking. You should make her walk. And it's like, she fucking can't.
Yeah.
Like she physically cannot. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing. You know what? I don't care if your kid walks at 8 months or a year or 18 months. That's a fucking gift. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
Always.
because the world, and I'm not to say that children who can't walk, you know, that's it. The world's not designed for that. The
No.
world doesn't cater to that at all. It makes life a lot, like, you know, especially if you're close to it. So like having a friend whose child was in a wheelchair, you start to realize how horrible the world is for people with disabilities. Like you go into a store and they're like, oh, we're wheelchair accessible.
And they're
And
not.
they're like, wonderful. You get in there and they have the aisles packed with shit. The chair can't fit down. There's no room. You can't turn. Like, it's like, yeah, you got a ramp on the front.
Congratulations, you got a ramp.
Yeah. And a button we can push. But other than that, you're not accessible at all.
No.
Mhm.
And so I think it's just like a very ableist mindset too. You know, people just assume everybody's going to be the same or whatever. And that's not the case. So I think like if people just mind their own business, like that would make things a lot fucking easier too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw funny thing is it popped up in my memories, and it's just odd that we ended up on this topic anyway, but it popped up in my memories that I shared something last year that says, instead of judging, moms should support each other like drunk girls in bar bathrooms.
Yes.
Right?
Fucking yes.
Girl bathrooms are the best.
Aren't
That's what I'm
they?
saying, right? And like we all love each other. We're all like complimenting each other. It's just like you look deadly. And like, why are we so much nicer then?
Because we're
It's
drunk.
so weird. Like we'll even help each other out in the bathroom.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yes.
Like, don't even
I
know
will
ya.
fucking-
Like,
I'll
hang tight.
hold up
I'll
a
toss you
stranger.
toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, girl, your dress. Hang on, I fixes your dress before
Yeah,
you goes
right.
out. Or
Exactly.
you know,
So like,
or
what do we all need to be hammered?
apparently, that's what I'm saying. But like,
Parenting would be so much more
we
fun.
We need to suspend reality for a while. That's why I've been doing so much drugs during this pandemic. It's
Yes.
changed my life. I had so many mushroom trips, and it just makes me a better person every time I come out of them. I'm like,
That's
just
what we need to do.
better.
Yeah, I think we should do
Mushrooms, for
mushrooms
sure.
and record.
That would be fucking hilarious. Can you? I did mushrooms like 2 weeks ago and watched Lord of the Rings for the first time.
Ever?
And I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
But you know, when they get to the Shire and the hobbits and they're like, we eat and we drink and it's beautiful, it's green. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fucking hobbit. Newfoundland is the Shire. I was like, and so my boyfriend's never been to Newfoundland and I'm like, dude, you want to know what it's like? The fucking Shire. That's exactly what Newfoundland is like. And then we watched the movie and we got to like, we weren't even at the end, but I like took mushrooms. I peeked, I came out the other side and this movie is still fucking on. And I'm like, this is why they need second breakfast and all that. And like second supper. I was like, because this movie is like 6 weeks long. This should have been a 6-season series. Like this could have been Game of Thrones level.
It could have.
Yeah.
Why is it all in one movie? But like I was so high at one point, I thought I was hallucinating the movie. Like there's no way it can be this long.
And you've only seen the first part because
I
there's
haven't
2
even
more.
finished it. I didn't even finish it.
I couldn't get through Lord of Rings. I was sober
Oh.
though. I was sober. I fell
Oh.
asleep. Yeah.
It was cool watching it on mushrooms. And I had like normally I'll just take enough mushrooms just to be giggly, but this night I took enough to actually like just fucking take right off. And so it was like I remember at one point closing my eyes and I said to my boyfriend, like, inside of my head is like I'm walking inside of a light bulb. And he's like, what the fuck? Because he doesn't do drugs at all. So he's like, what are you even talking about?
I've never done them. Crystal, have you ever done mushrooms?
No.
I did the
Not
chocolate
ever.
one. They're not, you know what? It's funny because I do a joke about that. Like when I was younger, I would never do mushrooms because I was always so scared of them.
Yeah.
And I said, so then I did them as an adult and I realized like how much fun they are. Like if you don't take too many, like if you take enough just to get a little trippy or just laugh, it's so much fun. It's like smoking weed, but without any paranoia or any of that stuff. You're just happy.
That's what
and
got
giggly.
me the last time I had weed.
Oh, Melissa.
Jesus.
Psychedelics. Psychedelic is the word you were thinking of.
What are
Like,
we got?
I'm sorry. Okay.
Go back.
It hit
Go back.
me.
What are we talking about?
Weeks ago. No, it was May 24. May 24. We were talking about, I don't know, mushrooms of some sort. And then you were like, what's the other word that you use instead of like hallucinogens? And I'm psychedelics.
Psychedelics, yes.
I do remember that, but I was
Yes.
quite high when I was talking about that.
What?
So I
I'll
only
tell
kind of
ya.
remember it.
Yes.
When
Sorry,
I
I
was
had
younger, when I was younger and I was scared of mushrooms, it was because when you're young, you're scared of fucking everything. You're scared of getting
True.
caught. You're scared of, the boogeyman, everything. I was like, but as an adult, I was like, what am I scared of now? Like bankruptcy? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to hallucinate monsters and stuff because you're past that point in your life.
That's
So it's
true.
just like, yeah. And honestly, I've done them quite a few times now. I've had the tea. I've done like just the mushrooms. I've done the chocolate, and I've never had a bad trip.
Okay.
Never.
All right,
On
Lisa,
mushrooms.
when you come home or come back
let's
for a
do mushrooms.
visit, let's get together and we'll record a podcast and we'll get fucked up on mushrooms.
I'll bring the mushrooms. I got really
Crystal
good,
is shitting her pants right now. She's like, no, I'm not doing this.
I'm like,
it's so much fun, but I order them online and I can get like I bought this one was like mint tea and it was so fucking a little bit of sugar in it or sweetener, whatever you use. And it was delicious.
That's
and it
my
was just like
favorite tea.
tea. It was just like drinking like a beautiful mint tea. And it was so good. And I got so fucked up.
Okay. Maybe
right.
we'll do that. At the very least, we've got to at least go get on the bear or something or like smoke a joint.
Yeah, we'll definitely get high because I'm like an edibles girl. Like I love edibles. Yeah. And I've got some like I order them out here on a website from BC and they're awesome. Like and then there's another couple of local places that'll deliver them right to your house.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just fucking love edibles. Like, because I can't smoke a lot. Like, if I smoke it, I green out and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or I can take edibles. Like, I've gone to parties where I'm just like edible, and then like hour and a half later, I'm like another edible. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, and I'm fine. So,
I don't have the tolerance for it. The last one I took, so we went out for a girls' night a couple of weeks ago, and that was great. I took it was a tweed one, so it was like 2 milligrams or something. So I took that, and then like an hour later, we were drinking. And I took another one that was good, and then I got the giggles and I got the high that I enjoy. And then May 2/4, we went up to Crystal's cabin, and a friend of ours had like no joke. So anybody because I forget sometimes that we're on the podcast, not just on the YouTube. But it was like, how big would you say it, Crystal? Like, I don't know. Is this an inch?
It might. It was
like a gummy bear size?
It was a little tiny, like gummy square. It was tiny.
Half inch by half inch. That was
tiny. And it was 30 milligrams in this tiny little piece. And I was like, that's too many milligrams. I'll have a nibble. So I had a nibble. And as I'm chewing it up, I was like, I instantly regret this because we were at the cabin. And my husband had eaten like a full one and he's not a weed smoker or anything else. So I was already like, oh, he's going to be fucked up. But I was also like, I kind of want to try it. So I had a nibble and then I got so paranoid and I just sat down and I looked at her. As soon as I ate it, I was like, I regret that. And I think if I had to just eat it and just let go, I would have had the best time.
Oh, probably.
But because I was thinking I shouldn't be doing this, the anxiety took over.
You went into it with it. Yeah.
I went into it and it like, I remember sitting in the fire being like, what if I stand up? And I started to get a body stone. And I remember being like, well, what if I stand up? But then I try to go get like a drink out of the fridge. And what if I fall into the fire and die? Like, that's the shit that was going through. I've had
ones like that too. I had these ones a couple weeks ago. They were Jolly Ranchers. And oh my God, they were like, it was like, I had that super relaxed body thing. Like your body feels like a bag of milk, but my thoughts were like going, but it was just like very pleasant. And I just lay there and just enjoyed it. And I haven't had it with any other edible, but I do my research on my edibles. So I like read the reviews. I read what they say are the most common effects and I buy them accordingly. And then so I have ones that I take regularly. So I know how they're going to react with me. And then I have other ones that are new. So I take it easy with those. I watch what I'm doing. I'm careful. I'll take a little bit, just see where I go. But for the most part, like I'm very careful with my edibles. And like I said, I have my tried and trusted ones. But yeah, you do like I've had ones too where I've taken it and I was like, I do not like this, sir. I do not like this.
I went right to bed. I think I sat down, tried to get through it for, I don't know if I lasted an hour. Like we were sat there and then like, I looked at my husband and I was like, we should go to bed. And he was blitzed. He was like, deadly, I'm tired. So we just went in and went to sleep. Like, but I mean, to me, I'm like, that ruined my fucking night. Cause I was there. Yeah. I'm a girl. I like to sit around the fire. I want to have a couple of drinks, like have a chat, let the music go, whatever. And like an hour later I'm never the first in bed at a party. I'm usually the first in bed regularly, but not at a party. But I went to bed first and I was like, no. best sleep of my life.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, you get and I have like indica
So good.
edibles because I have a hard time sleeping. It's just it's just who I am, right? So I take an indica edible to go to sleep. I have sativa edibles for like when I want to party, right?
yeah.
And that's just how I do it. But if I like the homemade ones get me too, because sometimes people be like, oh, it's this many milligrams. I'm like, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know how
Right.
many milligrams it is?
Mhm.
You know, so I'm like, all right, we'll take it easy on this one. But some of them you got to be careful. Like, and then there's other ones too, like, because myself, like, I'll take anywhere between 10 and say 30, 40 milligrams or whatever. But then the government ones I bought from time to time, and they're like 5 milligrams each, and I'll take one, and I'm like, why am I like fucked on
Oh
this?
yeah, I love
Like, that's
them.
way less than I'm used to. But the government ones aren't bad. They're
I
not bad.
like them.
Yeah,
And they're cheap
pretty
as
good.
fuck. They're
They are
so
cheap.
cheap. I bought a
And out
bag.
here,
Yeah.
like out here, like I'll look up the certain dispensaries. There's a couple I really like, and they have
Mhm.
sales all the time. So like, there's times I bought like an eighth of weed for like $12.
Oh, it's
And
crazy.
yeah, like back home before it was legal, I was paying like $50 for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Wow.
They're like, not $12, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy a half ounce of that. And then
Exactly.
same with the edibles. They'll have edibles on sale, or they'll have like sometimes they'll do like a bundle. So if you buy, they're like, $12 each, but 3 of them are like $25 or $28 or something. So I'll buy 3 of them. And yeah, it's like so much better now. Like, because I don't like hangovers. I can't do.
Oh.
I get such bad fucking hangovers, man.
They
But I
just
can
get
drink. That's the
worse.
problem, right? Like I
Yeah.
can just keep fucking hammering them back, and then the next
See,
day I'm
I
like,
don't
why
have
am I
that
dead?
problem.
Like, I
I've-
only had
I've-
13 beer.
Right. I've always said, man, like realistically, I have a superpower. I don't get hungover. Except for like one time
She's full of shit.
with you. It's always with her. The worst things that happen are always with her.
I get so hungover. I remember one time saying to my friend, I was like, somebody put something in my drink. She's like, yeah, vodka. They put vodka in your fucking drink, Lisa. I was so like, but I just drink so much. I don't understand not to drink too fast. And
Yeah,
not to
but if
drink
you're having
too
a good
much,
time, you just can't
I know.
like gauge yourself. You know what I mean?
Right?
That's what happens.
I've been trying
I'll
to
just
drink
look at-
water in between.
Yeah,
But
my mom does that. I'll just look
Right.
at Brett and be like, I'm done. And he's like, all right, I'm getting an Uber. We're going home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, what's it like to have Uber? Are we like, why? Okay. Why don't we fucking have Uber? There's some kind of weird thing in Newfoundland where we're like not
No.
allowed.
No,
It's
I probably, but I don't know if the population supports it.
Is
You
that
guys
what it
have a
is?
lot of taxi licenses too, right?
yeah,
So
that's
Right.
it.
I think that's what
Yeah.
it is, the taxi thing.
yeah, because it's technically a taxi thing. Like BC took them a long time to get anything like that because they have the government insurance there, and it was really high for commercial stuff. Alberta, we have Uber here, and it's fantastic because we'll like when we're ready to go out, like we'll wait until like Brett's waiting until like I'm ready to put my coat on and walk out the door. Because if we open the app and go like we need an Uber, it shows and it's like 2 minutes away.
Amazing.
Wow.
So then like the Uber shows up, picks us up, takes us where we're going. And of course, like we have like Uber Eats and DoorDash and Skip the Dishes and Instacart and like Uber Eats out here now does grocery delivery. So like I don't even go buy groceries. I get I get groceries from Costco.
See, now I'm on
Walmart.
board with that.
Yeah, Crystal
Yeah,
does that with
like,
Instacart here.
And honestly, too, like today I spent like $130, but I got like a 3-pound thing of ground beef. I got 2 big trays of wings. I bought us some of these specialty things, like because we don't eat like gluten or anything. So like,
Yeah.
I bought us these like specialty desserts and stuff. And so, and that was from 3 different grocery stores, like that I bought stuff from. Like it was crazy amount of food. I got a 2-liter of milk. Like it was nuts. And I look at the groceries and what you guys get back. I'm like, it's so fucking disgusting. It's so disgusting what you
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah, it's gross.
It is because like we lived up in Alberta years ago for a year, and I'm like, I can get 4 liters of milk in Alberta for less than it cost me for 2 liters at home. Like
I pay $4.99 for a 4-liter jug of milk.
that's what I'm saying. It
That's
cost me
fucked.
$3.99 for a 2 liter.
Yeah, and sometimes it's cheaper than that. Some places like will have it on sale. And same with like eggs and butter. Like Shoppers, I got the Optimum, so like open my app and like they always have butter on there for like $2.29 or $1.99. Eggs are like $1.79. So I'll buy a bunch
$1.79. Holy
for a
sweet
dozen
Jesus!
eggs. Yeah, and
On sale is
now, like,
$2.99 here.
I'm buying egg, and we go through a lot of eggs because there's a lot of us here. But like,
Yeah.
like I mean, honestly, like what I spend on, and we eat well, like we eat steak, and like tonight's wing night, and so like I mean, it's not like we're buying like back home. Like I mean, I still buy bologna, but it's not like I have to buy bologna. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? So it's definitely cheaper here, and then there's so many other options for like. I mean, I can get liquor delivered, I can get my groceries delivered, and it's not that expensive. Like it's because I have a subscription, so my delivery is free. And then I tip my driver. I'll tip him like $20 for my groceries because I'm like, it's worth it. It's worth
You're
it for me to get
saving that in gas.
yeah, just to and it shows me on the app how much time I've saved like grocery shopping by using them.
Mhm.
And it's something stupid now, like 100 and something hours. And I'm
Like
like,
that's genius though, because honestly, going shopping, cooking meals, prepping them, figuring out what the fuck you're going to eat, like all of this is a full-time job within
it
itself.
is.
And then
It
you've
is.
got your full-time job and your life and your like
We
it's
have a list
genius.
on that. We have like a dry erase board on the fridge.
Mhm.
And so everybody in the house knows that if they empty something or get close to emptying something, they have to put it on the list.
Yeah.
If it's not on the list, it won't get added unless I
Mhm.
notice it won't get added. And so, and then I sit down and I look at the list and I put everything in on the app and then I erase the list and I order it. But it's great because like I could be sitting at work at 8 in the morning. I work from home. So I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, you know what? I'd really like to make lasagna tonight. I'll go on the app, I'll order everything I need. Over $35, it's free delivery. So it's going to be free delivery if I'm buying the meat and the cheese and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Comes to my door within like 2 hours, it's at my house. So I have everything is there, fresh, ready to go to make dinner that night.
That's
It's
crazy.
just, and we have produce stores here too, like that sell dirt cheap produce.
Well,
Like,
that was going to be my question because my fear, I haven't used it yet. Like we've looked at it, but I haven't pulled the trigger. But my big fear is, are the grapes going to come in shit? Are the raspberries going to be
Sometimes.
dying and moldy?
yeah,
You
so
know, because you're
you
not
can
picking it.
if it doesn't come, you can complain. Like if it doesn't show up good, but I've had shoppers because they communicate with you while they're shopping.
Okay.
I've had shoppers send me a picture of the lettuce and be like, you don't want this. This is
Yeah.
horrible. And then they'll show me another lettuce, like, because sometimes like I'll just order like a head of romaine and they'll be like, yeah, that's not good, but there's the 3-pack in the bag. It much better quality. Do you want to switch it? And I'll say, yes, give me the 3-pack.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like that because that was
If you
always
get
my
a good
concern. I'm like,
shopper.
I'm not
Yeah.
getting, I don't want the shit for, because we go through a lot of fucking fruit and vegetables. I'm like, if it already shows up shitty, on my day's ruined. Like,
Right. And the other thing is the shoppers too. Like I know, like when they come here, if they like if I open the door and they're still at the door dropping things off, they'll say, if you could remember, or they'll text me and say, could you remember to rate me on the app? So the thing is, and I know this through TikTok from Instacart shoppers, they say, so I give everyone a 5-star rating. You'd have to fuck up pretty bad for me to give you a 5-star rating. I haven't had any issues yet with anything like that wasn't resolved right away. So I give everyone, because I just feel like if you're going to go buy my groceries, you deserve a 5-star rating. Like that's my thinking. But because they want that 5-star rating, because when they get that, they get the first pick of orders.
Mm.
So they want to keep the rating high because Instacart rewards them by giving them first pick. So they're really trying their best. They're trying to bring you the best produce, the
I love
best
that.
whatever they can find, so that so that you'll give them that 5-star rating, right?
That's smart.
And if they're communicating, like usually you get a text that says, someone like say, Bob has started shopping. You could be like, hey, Bob, when you're grabbing the produce, could you send me pictures of what you're picking just so I can approve it first, because I'm worried about the quality. Sometimes, Sobeys doesn't have great quality or whatever. And they'll do that for you.
Jeez.
I've never thought about doing
That's
that
a good
actually,
idea.
because I've had a couple of times.
I will never go again. I will never go to a grocery store again. I don't care.
Well,
so
I'm taking
Instacart,
pride
if you're
in it.
listening, we are looking for sponsors because I think that deserves a fucking, my God, what a free plug that was, guys.
I know,
Right?
I love Instacart. But talking about
Seriously.
that, I've gotten some crazy sponsorship too. Like I just got a Crown sponsor. I should be wearing my crown right now. I got a Crown sponsorship. Like they're sending me free crowns to wear in my videos.
Shut up.
Yeah. And I got another company that sent me CBDs. Also, CBDs are amazing.
I saw your TikTok about that the
Yeah,
other day. Go tell us about it.
Oh my God. Like, so I noticed like when I take them, I just feel calmer. Like, you know what I mean? So like today was like a shit day. So I started taking a bunch of the CBDs and I started to feel better. I started to feel less because like I was by like lunchtime today, I was like crying. I was so homesick.
Yeah.
It just kind of creeps up on me every now and then.
Yeah.
And then I started taking the CBDs. Now I feel like way better, just more relaxed, but they don't make you high or anything. They're just like, they're like a natural like editing.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And I sleep better when I take them and stuff. And then I just got a coffee sponsorship from a company. So they're, which is funny because like we burn through so much coffee here. And Brett and I are crazy coffee drinkers. And so they're sending me the coffee. But I've gotten one for like, I've gotten one from Bonji Bomb, which was the adult toys. I did one for, what was the other? There was another one. The CBD, the coffee, the crowns. Oh, someone's sending me a shirt. They want me to wear a shirt in a video. Like, it's just like everything. Like, I'm just like, whatever, free shit, I'm down.
Right?
Yeah. And then like they pay you to do videos and stuff too. Like, it's just crazy, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that stuff. Now the CBDs, they sent me this. They didn't pay me for the video. So if they don't pay me to do a video, and I won't do a video if I don't support the product.
Yeah.
So if I try it and I'm like, no, I don't like this. But that CBD one, like, I really thought that was, I'm like, there's so much potential for this. It is so good. But
it's like so many people should be taking advantage of it.
Yeah. It's like, if you're, especially now, because some people are finding it really hard right now, but they don't want to take medication.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't, but the CBDs are definitely helpful. I got my dog is on CBDs. My old golden retriever, he's 10. And we give him CBDs every day. And just
it's supposed to be good for their joints and everything too.
Yeah, and he's definitely way more perky with the CBDs.
Yeah.
It's so look into this.
I want to look into this sponsorship thing. People. We've got 30 followers already. How are we not like fucking sponsored? Jesus.
The CBDs were Aries Essentials was the name of the company. So I tagged them on Instagram and on TikTok. But yeah, if you like for sponsorship though, like you just keep plugging away at it. And I mean, don't be afraid to reach out to companies, especially like back home, like breweries and stuff. They love sponsoring shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like try even like the local breweries, right? I don't know.
Get down with some of the bets with Crystal. Fucking.
But even like sometimes it's like the local. I don't know if you guys do you guys have those like craft breweries popping up? Or
yeah, there's a bunch of like breweries around.
Yeah. And that's what we have out here too. A lot of those, they want to do comedy shows or they want to sponsor things because they just want their name out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, especially if you do episodes around, like, say, a bit like beer or around wine or something like that, you can definitely check that out. Is there anybody making wine back home yet?
Just me.
What's the fucking name of it? We have one, but it's like we've had it forever. They make like the fruit wine.
Oh, okay.
There's like
Ock Island. Is that
Ock Island? Yeah, out in Twillingate.
Oh, okay. Well, that's lovely, and that's the kind of shit that I'd be hitting up personally, right?
That's smart.
But yeah, like, and of course, because you're moms and you guys work and you got shit going on and whatever, stuff like Instacart too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right? I use it all the time. Of course I can talk about it.
Oh, Lisa, we're going to have to talk off this podcast about some ideas for sponsorships because you got a lot of knowledge here and I'm down for it.
Like, why not? Like, just fucking ask people for money. Just be like, help me, I'm poor. Like, just
can I have another, sir?
All right. Well, on that note, we don't want to leave yet because we want to play a game with you before we go.
All right.
And you can tell us if you don't want to play it. And we won't. Have you heard of the game?
If anybody was going to do it, it would be.
We figured you'd be down for it. So, have you heard of the game Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Yes.
Okay. So for all of our listeners, we'll go over the rules real quick. So what we do is we give Lisa 3 names. And we can all do it. We can all jump in and say who we would rate and why. But basically, so say 3 famous people. Say right now, Melissa, Crystal, and Lisa. If we were playing Fuck, Marry, Kill, then somebody would have to decide which one of us they were going to fuck, which one of us they were going to marry, and which one of us they were going to kill. And I think it leads to some really fun conversation and debates sometimes. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
I'm down.
All right. Yay. So who was it? Okay, our first one are people that you know and have worked with.
God, that's awkward. All right.
I don't know all their names. Do you know their names, Crystal?
We're talking
I'm like, I don't want to get it
local
wrong.
to Newfoundland.
Comedians.
Well, not necessarily comedians, were they?
Well, I was gonna say the Outhouse
yes.
Boys.
Yes, sorry. I went off. I went somewhere else.
I was like, she's been in their videos. The
Yes.
Outhouse Boys. So Mike, look at her laughing already. And if you don't feel comfortable with that one, we don't need to do it. But I was like dying to do that.
Look, I'm committed.
Okay. Okay. So what are their names? There's
There's
Mike.
Justin Hacko.
Yeah.
Marcus, I think Marcus' last name is Ryan. I'm not
Marcus
sure.
Ryan.
That's
You
horrible
should
to me.
know this. You're friends with
I
him.
should know, but I always just call him Marcus.
All right.
And Mike Lynch, right?
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do before we get into this, because this is a YouTube thing as well. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know how to share my screen. Hold on. Share my screen. Can you guys, hold on. Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
it's coming.
Okay. Let's go into, you're going to see all my real estate stuff. Where's the new tab?
Oh, that's a lovely house, though. Beautiful color.
It is actually.
Only 205. Jesus. Okay. So God only knows what I'm going to find when I Google the outhouse. Anybody listening on the pod? Thanks for sticking around. You're not seeing it on YouTube.
The outhouse, Newfoundland.
The
Yeah,
outhouse,
boy.
Newfoundland. All right.
Buckle.
So that's Troy. Jesus. How many guys are there in it? Let's get a picture up. Okay, let's do. All right. These three
There's
guys.
Mike,
So we got Mike.
Mike, and then in the middle is Justin, and on the end there is that's Marcus.
That's Marcus. Okay, fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, fuck's sakes. Well, you know what? I'd fuck Marcus because he's a BAME and he probably knows what he's at. I'd marry Hako because he looks like he's probably going to make a fine dollar one day. And I'd kill Mike because if you've never been trapped in the car with Mike Lynch when he does Bay Girl for 5 hours straight, buddy, I'm telling you.
I love it.
It's not, I love them all. They're all sweet boys.
I think that makes sense. I'd probably kill Mike for that same reason, though.
Just for fucking Randy Lee alone.
Just Randy Lee is so deadly. Oh, and I'm gonna do the opposite of you. I would probably marry Marcus because I think it's handy to have a Bayman around, and then I just have to fuck Justin.
That's true.
Justin? Yes. Crystal, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with Melissa on this one.
You gotta keep the Bay girl, Bay guy around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
that's true. Babe. That's smart. You're smart.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a Bayman around. Okay, that's the one of people you know. I don't know if you know anybody else, but the next one is late night comedy hosts.
Okay.
So fuck, marry, kill Jimmy Kimmel, Conan O'Brien, and Jimmy Fallon.
I'd marry Conan.
Mhm.
No, Jimmy Kimmel. I'd marry Jimmy Kimmel because he seems like he's alive. Like you'd have a good time.
Right.
I'd kill Conan. And then I'd fuck Jimmy Fallon and never call him again.
Okay.
I'm on board with that. I'm here for that.
Oh, I'm a little backwards.
Jimmy Fallon would probably laugh the whole time anyway, because that's all he does. He laughs during everything. Like he probably just laughed the whole time you were having sex with him.
I was thinking very similar, but I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking I would also marry Jimmy Kimmel. He's my favorite of the three.
Yeah, maybe fuck Conan and kill Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, I'm thinking fuck Conan. Because I don't know, Conan, he's so awkwardly unattractive that you know he's got to have extra moves. Because you know he had to make up for it.
See, girl, you put some thought into this, right? Yeah.
See,
And Jimmy Fallon, I think he'd just be goofy the whole time.
Yeah, he'd probably, I feel like Jimmy Fallon would fuck like a jackrabbit. Like he'd be so excited that he was doing it. He'd just constantly be like, you know what I mean? Like a
those are your
machine.
See, now my thought process was like this.
Come too
It's
soon.
like Conan's hair. It would just be like.
I don't know. I'm into awkward though. I don't.
You just
I like
gotta
weird
hit it.
shit.
No, have him hit it from the back. You won't even see his hair.
That's
There you
fair.
go.
That's
You
fair.
know, can you imagine you're doing them though, and his hair flops out, and it just starts
That's what I'm saying. That's all I
Down
can
your
picture.
back.
Right. On your
Holy
back.
fuck. All right. How about Newfoundland local celebrities? So how about Sean Majunder, Alan Doyle, and Alan Hocko?
Oh. I'd marry Alan Doyle. No. I'd fuck Hako.
Yep.
I'd marry Majumder, and I'd kill Doyle.
Me too. Same.
Now, what are the reasons? I'm also the same. Fully agree with that.
Well, because I'd marry Sean Majumder because he seems like he's well, actually I've met him. He's a lovely man.
Yeah.
And he's very funny. And he's doofy, right? So like, all that good stuff. And I know the boys are too. Hako just looks like he'd be a good time, but like I don't think he's like relationship material.
Mhm.
And then Alan Doyle, because because I can't handle how he talks. I love how he sings, but he's always very excited. God love him, but like sometimes we're like reel it in. You know what I mean? We don't need that energy level all the time.
You don't need to always be a 10. You can be a 4.
Right.
Just drop it down a little bit. Plus,
Well,
also
like
too, I feel like two of us would be like, even though Majumder's a comic too, I feel like we'd mesh together good. So like Mary, and then Hako, just a good time. And then Doyle, I feel like our egos would just be,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
think that's good. I agree with. I'd be the same way with you for there.
Yeah. Yep.
Who else
My
did we
thought
have?
process.
Gwyneth
Oh.
Paltrow, Pink, and Ellen.
I'd fucking kill Gwyneth Paltrow for sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
fuck. Yeah, I'd kill her. I'd fuck Pink and I'd fuck Ellen and I'd marry Pink.
Yes, we are the same. Reasons.
Well, Gwyneth Paltrow, I think we know what the reasons are. Because I've never known a celebrity to have their head that far up their fucking arse.
Yeah.
In my
It's
life.
not up her arse, it's her vagina because
Yeah, right.
she
And
makes
it's steam in
candles.
her vagina. Like, no, it's not a literal clam, lady. That's slang. And then Ellen, I would fuck because obviously she's a lesbian and she obviously knows her way around it all.
Yeah.
And then Pink, I would marry just because she's
Fucking
because
amazing.
I don't want to
she's
marry
deadly.
Ellen. And Pink,
Yeah.
Pink, like just I think, she's probably gone a lot. You know what I mean? Because she's on tour. But she's making bank. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like being an all-field wife.
Right.
I'm in between. I would also kill Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm in between Pink and Ellen because I was thinking the same thing, that I would fuck Ellen and marry Pink because Ellen knows where she's at. But then I was also like, you know what? Pink is like, I'd probably be down for a good fuck with Pink, but marry Ellen because you kind of want someone who knows what they're doing long term.
Yeah.
If you're gonna marry them, do I want one good night of sex or do I want a lifetime of good sex? So yeah,
That's
I might change that and marry Ellen.
Both of those are good points.
I love your
Yeah.
logic.
Yeah.
We sit here weighing it out like it's a possibility. Well,
Right. Well,
Fuck,
I mean,
man.
it could be.
All the same, if
Never
Gwyneth
know.
Paltrow wanted to marry me too, I'd probably be down for all three. I'm like,
No,
all right,
no, that would be a hard no on my side. I'd be like, take that shit somewhere else.
What
I'm
if
not
he
fucking
divorced
doing
her
it.
later and took half of her money though?
No,
I wouldn't sign a prenup.
you couldn't pay me enough.
Mama always
and
said,
she's like kale and shit, man. You don't want to be at that.
Like,
I don't know.
all the time.
Though. Mom
Yeah.
said marry the first time for love and the second time for marriage. So the next one around has to have deep pockets, whether it's
Money.
Gwyneth Paltrow or whoever. If I'm marrying anybody besides the husband I'm married to right now, they're going to have to be rich. That's the rule.
Yeah, love her money. That's right.
Yeah, fair enough.
All
right.
Last,
That's what we got now.
the Bretts.
Oh, it's our last one.
Look at her face. She's like,
Fuck, marry, kill. Brett Michaels, Brett the Hitman Hart, or your Brett.
Well, that's funny. Well, I'm already fucking my Brett. Brett Hart or Brett Michaels. I'd marry my Brett. I'd kill Bret Hart and I'd fuck Brett Michaels.
Solid choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same. Well, I don't
Well,
think I'd
we're
marry
gonna
her.
say
We don't
the
know
same
what we would
for
do with
you.
your Brett, but yeah. We haven't
That's
met
so
him.
funny.
I'm gonna assume he's a good guy, so I'd say
Yes.
marriage train for there. And I'd probably
because
kill
when you
Bret
were
Hart,
saying like
too.
long term, that's the you want
Mhm.
the long term.
Right, long term. It's really it's a thought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you have any 3 that you'd like to throw at us? Top of your head?
Yeah. Fuck, marry, kill Fred Hutton.
Oh Jesus.
Cecil Hare. And Ryan Snodden. Is that his name? Who does this? Who does the weather now?
Eddie Shearer and Ryan Snodden.
Yeah, Eddie. So Fred Hutton, Cecil Hare, and Eddie.
Which one's Cecil Hare again?
He does the news out around the bay, I think.
I'd probably fuck him just to take an old guy for a ride.
Listen, that logic has never failed me.
Right? Just take it for a spin. Take it for a spin, see what's up.
Brett's pushing 50 for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, right.
I could get on board with that.
And I'd probably marry Fred because he's also older. No, but then I'd have to kill Eddie. No, I'd marry Eddie and I'd kill Fred.
Yeah, that's where I am.
I think that's a hard one.
I kill the weatherman.
Good.
You kill Eddie?
Yeah, she can't trust him ever.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
He said, "Job to work. Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful day." You're like, comes home. So I didn't take a fucking umbrella, Eddie. And you know why I didn't take an umbrella? Because I'm married to the fucking meteorologist who wouldn't know his head from his hole if he had a tour guide and a map.
Oh my God. I love when the weather's like wrong though. And he apologizes on Facebook. He's like, I'm sorry guys, this just changed. The system just came in. Like he gets upset. It's fun.
Yeah, because he knows he's a goddamn liar. We're like,
what was it?
Eddie? I left the house. I'm not dressed for this.
Right? Fucking was it the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air years ago that Hillary was a weather girl? And they were in California and she would watch the weather in New York to see what the day was going to be like. And then she'd announce that weather in the California news channel. I thought that was so funny.
Well, she was really dumb.
Oh, such a good show. But anyway, Lisa, this has been a laugh and a half. I also think we got some really good conversation in.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, this was nice. So we definitely want to have you back again.
Yeah, for sure.
With your mushrooms or without. I mean, we'd have you in anyway, but we definitely like to get together when you come home.
I'm hoping to get back to fall. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah.
So you planning on doing a show home?
Yeah, I'm gonna come home and do a little tour.
Sweet.
So yeah, I've got a list of places ready to go, and just talking to some other comedians and hoping to pull the trigger on that at some point soon. I'll have my next vaccine Friday too, so I'll be fully vaccinated by then. Yeah.
And then you'll put 2 chairs right in the front with Crystal and Melissa.
That's right.
We're looking for a sponsor.
Right front dead center. I'll be like, yeah.
Next time you do, I really do think we should have you on again to talk about comedy. Because that was what we were like, well, maybe we'll ask her when she first got started and go down that road. But we never even got there because we were just having some great conversations.
Yeah,
so we'll have you on again another time.
I love talking comedy. I love talking shopping about my career and some of the crazy shit that's happened. Yeah, that's fun.
Yes. Okay. So we'll definitely schedule that. And in the meantime, give yourself some plugs. So you're 200,000 followers. Is that what I saw on TikTok? 200 and some thousand on TikTok. I got my Facebook, my Twitter, my Snapchat. Everything is the same. It's all at Lisa Baker Comedy. My website, my album was just released. I'm recording another album next month. The album is playing right now on Sirius JFL, the channel on there. And what else? I got shows coming up in Fort McMurray and Edmonton, Calgary and stuff. Making some more announcements for that. But yeah, that's all my social media, and I've got merch on my website that people can buy as well. We're up to 11 designs now. We've got some more coming, and we've got some more. We're gonna start changing up the merch a little bit and start making other things besides clothing as well. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So it's lisabakercomedy.com.
lisabakercomedy.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Super easy.
So, yeah. Brett built it all for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm doing. He has to send me everything. He's like, here's the link for the things. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'll share, forward, share, copy, done.
I don't know anything.
Yeah. Hey, for anybody listening, we forgot to say it at the beginning of our podcast again, like usual. Like our page, follow us.
Subscribe.
Like, follow, share.
Subscribe, like, follow, share, subscribe. Also, if you do have any questions, ideas for the show, any emails, any advice that you're looking for, you can email us. I was recently listening to an old podcast that we gave our email address wrong, and I don't think we ever gave it again. So if you're listening and you would like to email us, it's the why effing not podcast at gmail.com. So that's all spelled out, and effing is spelled F-I-N-G. So the why effing not podcast at gmail.com. Because Lisa, that was our name before. We've had 2 name changes. And we're already registered. So
I like how people think that 2 girls, 1 pod is classier.
oh yeah,
Right.
right.
When we know what the reference is, you know.
I love it when people find out what the reference is. And then it's like, oh, it's not just 2 girls on a podcast. I'm like, well, now it is. But yeah, no, like 12 years ago. Was it 12 years ago?
Oh, it's a long time.
Yeah. Anyway,
Or longer.
I've yet to see the video. I probably should watch it just so I know what I'm referencing to.
No.
But I know enough about it. I don't need to see
Like,
that.
it's this is our Blue Waffle podcast. No, don't watch the video. It will traumatize you.
Yeah. I think
It's
I'm good
bad.
without it. I'm good without it. So,
bad.
all right.
I-
And on that
I-
note, we are going to dance our way off the pod. Lisa, feel free to join in.
I did the
She
first
danced-
time.
She danced earlier,
Okay.
so
Oh, sorry, guys. I just hit the button and I know you didn't hear anything.
she fucked it up.
I do this every time and I'm not editing it. I don't even care. I don't
That's
even care.
okay.
I don't even fucking care. Okay. So I got to go back into share screen. This is because I shared the screen so we could look at the buys. So share my audio. Okay, you ready?
Ready?
Yeah.